Well, joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Hemant, who's a senior journalist. Hemant, thank you so much for speaking to us. There are multiple angles which are emerging in this investigation. I want to begin by understanding the role of Goa police. Many questions have been raised. Initially, a theory of natural death was almost accepted. It was only when the family made a hue and cry that further investigation was ordered. Your thoughts and your understanding in reading this investigation so far vis-a-vis the role of Goa police?
See, Anusha, whatever has happened in this particular case, there is much more beyond that meets the eye. Actually, what Goa police did initially, that was unbecoming of a police force. Initially, once there was a death, without getting into anything, they simply termed it as a cardiac arrest, which is not the case, number one. For that, you have to have a post-mortem. And the post-mortem was done exactly 60 hours over the first information, once the family was informed about the death, 60 hours after. So many of the things, those narcotics that we are discussing, that might have diluted in the system as such, number one. Number two, the second biggest problem with the investigation was the accused, Mr. Sudhir Sangwan, he was using the victim's telephone till next 12 hours, even after the death. Why didn't the Goa police not take the possession of that telephone? Point number two. Point number three, why it did 3 days? Why did it take 3 days to go for the post-mortem report? These are the three glaring things. Now, all those CCTV footages, those should have been taken on the word go initially, wherever the situation had happened or arisen. Now, today, they have taken all those possessions. Now, had that been erased, what would have Goa police done? That is point number one. Number two.
Hemantji, I've noted all the points that you have said. And it only points out to glaring omissions by the police. And these are not coincidences. I'll come back to you on that. Derek Almeida, who's the former editor of the Goan Everyday, is also joining us on the broadcast. Derek, thank you so much for speaking to us. Simple question, straight question. Why did the Goa police make those omissions? Was it trying to protect somebody?
I don't think the Goa police were trying to protect anybody. You see, when the body was, when the lady was first taken to the hospital, the conclusion there was that she died of a heart attack. So a case of unnatural death was recorded. Okay, and that process continued. It's only after Sonali's brother came to Goa and made all the allegations. You see that, and he also made one allegation saying that I will not allow you to have the post-mortem unless you register a case of murder. So he registered a complaint of murder, and then the post-mortem was conducted. So I don't see any sort of conspiracy by the Goa police to hide anything here.
But Derek, if there are marks on the body of a person who has died, and these are blunt force injuries, that's the term which has been used repeatedly across all the reportage that has come, and credible reportage on this entire story, then the police, with their basic sense of investigation, should have questioned the entire cardiac arrest theory.
Like in the beginning, okay, the DGP said there were no marks on the body, and that's when they concluded it was a heart attack. The post-mortem report came much later, and the post-mortem report said there were injuries caused by blunt force. Now, a blunt force injury, unless it is the cause of death, okay, could be anything. It could be maybe she fell down. It could be maybe while carrying her, she must have bruised. So it could be anything. Yes, it needs to be investigated. So this is early investigation. I think it's really too early to blame the Goa police and say you've not done your job.
Okay. Hemantji, too early to make an allegation on the Goa police? Could it actually have been reasonable for them to believe the cardiac arrest theory? Because the blunt force injuries can happen even if you fall. I mean, that's why they concluded what they concluded. Is there explanation for what they have done?
Yeah, there is an explanation.
No, Anushaji, there are two things. I am just pointing out the inadequacies and unprofessional behavior of the Goa police. I'm not indicting somebody on that basis. No, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
There is a professional way of investigating a murder. Right? If the body had turned blue, what do you and me, even a layman, make out? That there has been a poisoning. Now, what kind of poisoning is that? She was dancing just before falling into that bathroom, and she was kept in that bathroom for 3 hours. Right? And the accused, See, once the family of the deceased, they reached there at about 2 p.m. on Tuesday. And when was the postmortem conducted? If the family is suspecting that there is a murder, the police could have simply lodged an FIR, and that FIR not is a Brahmastra. It can always be cancelled if found inadequate. The thing is, basically, there is something much more beyond that meets the eye. For the very simple reason, both the accused were rounded up yesterday evening only after the postmortem report. Otherwise, what should have been done? What is the SOP in that case? Where is the deceased telephone? The accused was carrying that telephone, right? All those data must have been removed.
Yeah.
He was not taking the telephone calls of the deceased family. What was it? They briefed everything to Goa police. I'm just telling the unprofessional behavior. I'm not saying that they were trying to protect somebody. No, it's not my thing. Now the issue is, there are certain names which are cropping up. And Anusha, if you allow me, there are 2-3 things.
Sure.
Why was this murder conducted only in Goa? The lady, the star, the TikTok star, whatever you call her, she was bound to go to Chandigarh, right? She told her family that she is going to Chandigarh. All of a sudden, she lands in Goa, right? And from there, the family finds that there is no shooting going on. Why in the first place she was not carrying the government government security man with her? Number one. Number two, under what circumstances she was taken to Goa? Was there a larger conspiracy there? Why only in Goa? These things are collaborated basically.
Okay.
And the thing finally is, why these people? It took 60 hours to conduct a postmortem, number one, and then 60 hours to arrest them formally.
Okay.
They should have been taken into custody
Derek,
right away.
Derek,
and the phone should have been taken into custody.
Derek,
That's
if the family is suspecting murder and the family made that complaint to the Goa police authorities, shouldn't the basic SOP have been followed by the Goa police? Did they miss out on that as a professional police force?
No, the basic SOP is not to register murder. The basic SOP
Yeah,
is to
but
register
to examine the phone, to
unnatural
look at the
death
body, or
case.
perhaps to speak to the family.
No, you register a case of unnatural death, and that's where the investigation begins. And then from there, then you scale it up. And as the evidence pours in, then you decide whether it's culpable homicide, whether it's murder, whether it's accidental death, whether it's overdose, whatever. But you never start with murder. You start with unnatural death. That is the SOP. So, and the other question of
The phone being examined, because the phone, as Hemant is pointing out, was with the accused, and a huge amount of data which could have been important for the investigation is arguably lost.
No. That is not true. Okay, that is not true. These two people who are with her, are they unknown to her? Are they some sinister guys? No, one is her assistant and the other person is his assistant. These are people who are known to her. That's how and this other allegation, she was taken to Goa. She's 42 years old. How do you take her to Goa? Is it a kidnapping? It's not true. They came to Goa. And why do you come to Goa? There is no shooting. There's nothing. So why does everyone come to Goa? It's a big party place.
Hemant,
That's why